Hello, my friends. Today in CKLA, we are going to talk about this really cool reading comprehension tool that's called the five-finger retell. And it's really, really easy, I promise, because you're just going to use your hand. When you read stories, it's cool to be able to retell what happened. And that basically shows your reading comprehension. How much did you retain from that story? How much do you remember from the story? So we teach you the five-finger retell because that's going to help you out. So if you look, this is our five-finger retell. The thumb is the setting. So the thumb, whenever you read a story, you're going to tell me about the setting of the story. Where did the story take place? Did it take place in a house? Did it take place in the woods? Did it take place in a zoo? Those are all settings. Those are all places where you can go. The next finger is the characters. Who were the characters in the story? Was it like a mommy and a daddy and a baby brother? Was it a bear or maybe a giraffe or a specific animal? Those are the characters of the story. And then we have the 1, 2, 3. And this is what we like to call the plot, the good stuff of the story. And the 1 is the beginning. So you're going to tell me what happened in the beginning of the story. Like what happens first. And then the 2nd, what happened after that? What happened after the first thing happened, then what happened? And then how did the book finally end? So this is what we call the five-finger retell. We're going to be using this a lot this year to help retell stories whenever we hear stories. So I'm going to read you a story. And this story is called Pumpkin Soup. So as we read the story, we're going to do all of these together. Okay, so are you ready to go? Get those listening ears on. Okay, this is Pumpkin Soup. Pumpkin Soup. Deep in the woods, there's an old white cabin with pumpkins in the garden. There's a good smell of soup, and at night, with luck, you might see a bagpiping cat through the window, and a squirrel with a banjo, and a small singing duck. So right up there, where's the setting? Where are we? Where's the setting of the story? We're in the deep, deep woods. Look at that house in a little white cabin. Okay. Pumpkin soup, the best you ever tasted. Maybe by the cat who sliced up the pumpkins. Maybe by the squirrel who stirs in the water. Or maybe by the duck who scoops up the pikin of salt and tips in just enough. So who are our characters? These are our characters, right? We have a cat, a squirrel, and a duck. They slurp their soup, they play their song, then pop off to bed. In a quilt stitched together by the cat, embroidered by the squirrel, and filled with fine feathers from the duck. And it's peaceful in the old white cabin. Everyone has his own job to do. Everyone is happy, or so it seems. Dun, dun, dun. But one morning, the duck woke up early. He tiptoed into the kitchen and smiled at the squirrel's special spoon. Wouldn't it be fine, he murmured. If I could be the head cook. He drew up a stool, hopped on top, and reached until his beak just touched the tip of the spoon. Kerplunk! Down it came. Then the duck trotted back to the bedroom, held up the spoon, and said, "Today it's my turn to stir the soup." Uh-oh. What do you think's going to happen? We gave the story. That's mine, squealed the squirrel. Stirring is my job. Give it back. You're too small, snapped the cat. We'll cook the way we always have. But the duck held on tight until the squirrel tugged with all his might, and whoops! The spoon spun through the air and bopped on the cat's head. Then there was trouble, a horrible squabble, a row, a racket, a rumpus in the old white cabin. So this is what's happening in the beginning of the story. They all want to, the duck wants to switch jobs with everybody. It's going to be a problem, don't you think? Do you think it's already a problem? Look, are they happy? Nope. I'm not staying here, wailed the duck. You'll never let me help with anything. And he packed up the wheelbarrow, put his hat on, and waddled away. You'll be back, stormed the cat, after we've cleaned up. And the squirrel shook his spoon in the air, but the duck didn't come back. Not for breakfast, not even for lunch. I'll find him, scuffed the cat. He'll be hiding outside. So now the duck left. Uh-oh. The duck left. I bet he's in the pumpkin patch. There's a huge pumpkin. But the duck was not in the pumpkin patch. They could not find him anywhere. Uh-oh. So they waited all afternoon. The cat watched the door and the squirrel paced the floor. That duck will be sorry when he comes home, they muttered. But the duck didn't come home, not even for soup time. Oh no, guys. Oh. The soup wasn't tasty. Look at them, they're sad. The soup wasn't tasty. They made it too salty. They didn't feel hungry anyway. They both sobbed over supper, and their tears dripped into the soup and made it even saltier. We should have let him stir the soup, sniffled the squirrel. He was only trying to help, wept the cat. Let's go and look for him. So now, what happens in the middle? Now they're going to go and search for the duck. The cat and squirrel were scared as they wandered down the path in the dark, dark woods. They feared for the duck all alone with the trees and the foxes and the wolves and the witches and the bears. But they couldn't find him. On and on they trudged until they reached the edge of a cliff. Maybe he fell down, wailed the cat. I'll save him, squeaked the squirrel as he scrambled down a long, shaky rope. He searched all around on the ground, but he couldn't find the duck. Then the cat whispered in a sad little voice, Duck might have found some better friends. He might, sighed the squirrel, friends who let him help. And the more they thought about it, as they plodded back, the more they were sure they were right. Look at, he's got his own soup stand. But then they were almost home. They saw light shining from the old white cabin. It's Duck, they shrieked, and they burst through the door. There's the duck. And the duck was so happy to see them. He was just also very, very hungry. And though it was late, they thought they would all make, what are they going to make? Some pumpkin soup. When the duck stirred, the cat and the squirrel didn't say a word. Not even when the duck stirred the soup so fast that it slapped right on the pot. Not even when the pot got burnt. Then the duck showed the squirrel how to measure out the salt, and the soup was still the best you've ever tasted. So once again it was peaceful in the old white cabin until the duck said, I think I'll play the bagpipes now. No, they're taking him away from him because he probably plays really bad. So, We said the setting of the story obviously was in the woods, right? In the little white cabin in the woods. That's where our story took place. The characters were our duck, our squirrel, and our cat. Those are the characters. In the beginning, the duck wanted to take a turn to stir, right? But that's not what his job is. So they got really upset and said, no, that's our job. You can't do that. So the duck got mad and the duck left. So now in the middle of the story, we have the cat and the squirrel going to go and find Duck because they want him to bring him back home because that's where he belongs, right? So they go and they search and they search and they search. And then they finally find him, which is the end. They finally find him. And they come back home and they all make the pumpkin soup together again. And the end. That's the end of the story. Now, how fun was that, my friends? How easy was that? Well, now it's going to be your turn. In the activity below, I am reading a story called Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use the microphone and you're going to tell me you're going to tell me all about the story that you just read, or the Goldilocks and Three Bears, using the five-finger retell. Okay, my friends? I hope you have fun, and I can't wait to hear what you guys tell me. Bye, everybody.